All right, let's move on. Let's stay in the SEC. Instead of D-line, let's go offensive line. Yeah, we just talked about Texas A&M defensive line. LSU's offensive line will be facing against this Texas A&M defensive line. It'll be really interesting. You got two elite tackles, Will Campbell, Emory Jones. You're looking at mock drafts right now, and this is obviously subject to change, but two guys that have first round potential, right? In terms of the NFL projection on these guys. Will Campbell started as a true freshman. Emory Jones, he started as a true freshman as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, two guys that exceeded expectations as true freshmen are now in their third year starting, right? And then also, it's not just the tackles either. Like you look at Miles Frazier, who was a tackle when he played at FIU, was one of the best transfers from 2 years ago. Not this cycle, but the cycle before. He comes into LSU. They shift him down to guard. And I mean, he was fantastic for them, I thought, last year. Now it was a high flying offense, and you know, not a lot of sacks are given up to Jaden Daniels back there because he's just really good at avoiding sacks. But Miles Frazier is a player that you do need to watch out for. So it's not like he's not a bum by any means, you know.
No, not at all. And I'll throw in two other names here, obviously, to round up the O line. Garrett Dellinger playing guard as well. 23 starts under his belt, very productive last year. Again, like Matthew said, very good O line a year ago that returns four of their five pieces. And that missing piece off the NFL was their center and DJ Chester. It's been very nice reviews, early positive signs out of camp there. Was a highly ranked player just a year ago in the 2023 high school class. He's going to be playing center for them as a redshirt freshman. Sounds like he's very mature, obviously physically, but also mentally to have the fortitude to play center in the SEC. And it helps having two bookend tackles that are NFL guys. It helps having two very experienced guys to left and right of you in the interior as well. But it's not easy. It's not easy to be thrown in the fire there. And there's some good players. And he had kind of had the opportunity to go up against some really good interior defensive linemen, Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo a year ago. So it helps obviously with that development. And Chester looks to be that fifth piece for the LSU O line room, which makes it just so good. I mean, you got two tackles there that forced a guy like Lance Hurd into the portal, who's going to be the left tackle day one for the Tennessee Volunteers in 2024, and a guy that we're super high on. Everyone was high on a year ago, and he just couldn't see the playing time because you've got Will Campbell and Emory Jones, and it's not just them. Like we said, there's three other guys that are pretty damn good as well.
Now, are you concerned about the depth of this offensive line at all? Like we got five guys that we know are really, really, really solid, and that I don't think hardly any offensive line in the country can say that. Like, are we sure about the depth of this offensive line? I'm not sure that I'm sold on the depth here, but to me, the reason why they're included in this is because the five across, right? It's not just like in running backs, you got a one, a two, a three. Like the offensive line's different. If you have five guys that can actually go out there and ball, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, even if you're not as deep. But however, if a couple guys do go down to injury, like we saw this happen to Tennessee last year, it could be detrimental. It could be detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, you signed some nice guys. I mean, well, first of all, your depth, by the way, is Lance Hurt. And like that in 2024, it is very hard to have depth at the O line. Look at Alabama right now. I mean, their swing tackle just got arrested. I mean, there are a lot of teams in a lot of trouble here to have that depth O line wise. If you have to play a guy like Weston Davis or Cohen Eccles, two guys that are pretty highly rated recruiting wise, and I know we're high on as well, from the state of Texas, but it's tough. It's going to be tough sledding in the SEC there. But I think what puts them in this category is that the understanding that there are it's hard to have depth in O line here. I don't know many teams that have 8 to 10 guys that they love, and because if they love them, or it's the best kept secret in college football. Because if they loved them, they'd be on other teams as well, or at least be talking to other teams. But you got Tyree Adams a year ago. You signed Bo Bordelon, two guys that can back up your tackles. I think that staff feels okay about. Obviously, you'd love to wait another year to get those guys in, year three and year two. Um, in your O line group. I don't like playing young guys at O line, especially in the SEC. But some guys are built for it. I don't quite see many people on this roster that are, which is it is nerve wracking, especially with breaking a new quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. You get new running backs, new wide receivers. It's tough, but you got four of the five pieces back. Just it makes me real excited, especially for if they can stay healthy. This could be probably the best group in college football, or one of.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So, do you think this is going to be like running back by committee, or do you think that there is a guy in this backfield that's going to take over? And like, how much does this offensive line, like, how much will they help with the success of this, uh, with this running back room, which is, all new guys, pretty much. I mean, I'm not all new guys, but you lose Logan Diggs, right? No more Noah Kane, right? You got Caden Durham, Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson. It'll be interesting to see like how much does this offensive line like gonna help this team kind of figure out these running backs settle in.
I'll throw John Emery in that too as another guy that's leaving, even though he wasn't super productive for you last year. Yeah, it's massive. I mean, Logan Diggs found a lot of success late in the year, which is nice for LSU. But your best running back was Jaden Daniels, and it was kind of just scramble around and do things that special things that only he could do. Part of the reason why he won the Heisman Trophy a year ago. I mean, 85-yard scamper. I mean, yeah, he's incredible. I do think this O line does help with that. Absolutely, breaking in Josh Williams to be that more featured back. Maybe Caden Durham is ready to play as a true freshman. Caleb Jackson a year ago as well, who had averaged 5 yards per carry. I think there's pieces in this room, but I think it's going to help absolutely with this O line and trusting that they can trust their vision and their blocks, that the holes are going to be there, and you don't have to dance around and do some things, special things to make some plays in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Williams, 55 carries for 284 yards, five touchdowns. Right. Caleb Jackson, 31 carries for 165 yards, four touchdowns. Right. So there is some experience there in the backfield, but not as productive necessarily as Logan did. Although they both were over 5 yards a carry, you know. But part of that was that, like you said, was Jaden Daniels just having him in there. Like, are you losing an extra guy because you have to account for Jaden Daniels, which you wouldn't have to necessarily account for Garrett Nussmeier? I don't know. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see uh how this offensive line is going to impact, not only the pass game, of course, with Garrett Nussmeier breaking in a new quarterback, like you said, but also this run game and what it could possibly be, what its identity will be in 2024. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another. Oh, did you have another point you want to make?
Yeah, I want to add real quick. Will Campbell is a guy that's a pretty, I don't want to say popular, but a really like I'll say popular, like long shot for number one overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, obviously with maybe no elite quarterbacks as we sit today, and next year Will Campbell's going to be a guy that has some real upside there. How high he can go in the NFL draft. And I think that speaks to his tools, but also his production. I mean, 2 years in the SEC, him and Emory Jones have been staples for LSU for a couple of years now. Obviously, boosters this room.
Absolutely. Absolutely.